What's up, Lego builders? Welcome back to Coconut Brick Studios for my UCS AT-AT lighting tutorial. Here's a look at every piece I'm going to be using, as well as how many of each piece I'm going to use. I'm going to start by lighting up the viewing port on the head. So you're going to open up the back of the head near the neck, and you're going to stick the battery box in there. Connect your expansion board to the battery pack. Once that's done, just kind of tuck it underneath the hinges of that back flap. You should still be able to shut your door pretty easily like that. Next, we're going to jump to the front of the head where the windshield is, and you're going to start by opening up the sides and taking that top piece off just so we can access the windshield a little bit better. Go ahead and remove the furthest end tile, and then we're going to replace it with one of the 1x2 plates. Take one of your bit lights and stick it on top of the exposed stud of the windshield area like so. Make sure that your wire is not sticking up or down, but sticking out to the side. That way you're able to stick your 1x2 plate on all the way and it won't be pushed off by the cable. Next, we're going to run the wire through the head. So go ahead and lift up the top a little bit and run your wire underneath that top wedge plate you can see sticking out of the side. There's a little bit of a hole there from where the hinge piece is located. Stick your wire in that little section and then run it along the top of the AT-AT and then back out of the rear. Once your wire has been run through to the back area, go ahead and plug in your bit light into the expansion board. Next, we're going to be jumping back to the main compartment area. So go ahead and remove all of the panels from the top and sides of the AT-AT. I placed my battery box for this section in the rear area, back where those engine reactors are housed. So go ahead and remove those top two supports. You'll have lots of room to work around and stick your battery box in there. And then take your expansion board. You can see we're using the bigger expansion board for this one because we're going to be plugging in more lights than on the head. Plug in your battery box to the expansion board. Now we're going to be placing a couple of smaller individual lights at the bottom of the stairs. So take another one of your bit lights, and you can see there's going to be a stud on either side of the stairwell. I'm basically going to do the same thing that I did with the front with the head of the AT-AT. Place the bit light on top of the stud and then take one of your 1x1 round trans red plates and stick it on top of the bit light. We're gonna thread the rest of the wire back through the AT-AT to the battery box. So you're gonna go behind that tall black Technic piece there in the front, and you're gonna thread it behind that small light bluish gray hinge piece like so. Once you get it through there, pull it tight, pull all of the extra wiring through, and then stick it underneath the reactors or engines, whatever you want to call them, and then continue and pull all of the excess wire through that. Next, we're going to install the strip light on the underside of the first floor roof. You're going to want to place your strip light as close to the middle section of the AT-AT as possible. So at first, I placed mine as close to the outside of the AT-AT as I could, but then I realized this wire actually gets in the way of the door when you try and put that panel back on. So to avoid that, make sure your strip light is squished back against the middle of the AT-AT, and then go ahead and thread your wire back behind both of those black Technic rods. That is very important. If you only thread it behind one of them, your wire is going to get caught and it could get damaged, or even worse, torn off of the light when you stick your panel back and the prongs on the side panel get pushed into the AT-AT. So once you have that threaded through that section, go ahead and continue to thread it through to the back of the AT-AT, following the same path as the first bit light. So you're going to want to go underneath the engine reactor, underneath that engine section again, behind that light bluish gray hinge. Once you've got it threaded underneath that engine, go ahead and pull any excess wiring so that your wire runs tightly again along the roof of the AT-AT. Now that you've got all of your wires pulled through to the back section, go ahead and connect everything to the expansion board. This was definitely a experimental and work in progress thing. I recommend caution when trying this out. If you're worried at all about damaging your AT-AT or damaging wires in the process, I would not go with this method. I would try getting like an actual official lighting kit, but if you're just messing around with lights and you want to try something out, hopefully this video was helpful. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Don't forget to let me know what you thought about this tutorial down below in the comments, and I will catch you guys next time, but until then, happy building.